तुझे मैंने वैसे कभी देखा नहीं है, मेरा दिल तो ना माने कि तू मेरा नहीं है। मेरी आंखों में झांको, मेरी सांसों में आओ, आओ और ये देखो, बाहों की ये दूरी, बाहों की ये दूरी, नहीं रूहों की दूरी। तुझे सदियों में सोचा, तेरा चेहरा बनाया, कई रंगों में मैंने तुझे अपना बनाया। मेरी आंखों में झांको, मेरी सांसों में आओ, आओ और ये देखो, प्यासा है तू भी तो मैं तन्हा। Okay. We maxed out.
We maxed out?
We maxed out there.
We maxed out there. Man. Why are we doing a Karavan song?
Sorry, I should have memorized the lyrics on that one, shouldn't I?
Who cares?
It's all
It's
good.
a freestyle jam.
Why
are we doing a Karavan song?
Why are we doing a Karavan song? You tell me. You're like the biggest Karavan fan ever.
Well, so we talked about what are the underrated bands. And then you said Karavan. I didn't even say it. You said it.
Well, what did you say?
I think Fusion is also... I mean, Karavan and Fusion are my top two underrated. When it comes to underrated, who are not appreciated for their skills. Not necessarily their impact.
I guess what I mean by underrated is...
Either Fusion had commercial songs.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, they did, but they didn't get the notoriety that I think they
didn't get the notoriety.
Deserved. So when did they start off? 1997 is when they first released
Karavan started in 97.
their first album, right?
Yeah.
At the height of Junoon.
At the height of Junoon.
Junoon's Awa, like what album was out by then?
So see what happened in those days is Junoon set that trend for rock and roll, which because a lot of these rock and metal guitar players, the elite ones like Adnan Afaq, Faraz and Asad, and these guys were playing for Awaz, and you know Faraz was like playing sessions for Ali Heather and stuff.
Yeah.
When Junoon set that thing where rock and roll bands are acceptable now, right? So, and then Inqilab when it come out, which is like sensational, right?
Inqilab, yeah. I think that came out in
95.
Okay, 95.
95.
Okay.
Yeah. Or
I think they released Kashmakash, which was like just a sort of best of Junoon in 97.
Right. So, and then Faraz actually had I don't know if you know this, but Faraz played on an album of Collage. There's this band called Collage.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that was a rock outfit,
right?
Pure rock, and Faraz was going heavy in that, man. He was, wow. He was
right. I mean, I don't know. I would push back on this idea that Junoon somehow normalized rock bands because they were rock, but they were sort of very not commercial.
See,
it was a very palatable sort of rock.
And then you have to be because they go Pakistani and Desi. If you want to be popular nationwide in music, then you have to have songs that have I don't have a nice way of saying this.
Don't say it.
There has to be a matak in there.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So like for Junoon, they introduced that with tabla. But I don't think that was Saman Ahmed's intention. I mean, he wanted tabla because,
I mean, because he... Well, for one thing,
because he was inspired by Qawwali, he was genuinely inspired.
Obviously, they had Led Zeppelin-esque, sort of riffs that were coming along.
Yeah.
But then, of course, they added the sort of dhol beats and tabla and and then they took, of course, from like classical.
But they would not
poetry.
have made it the way they made it unless they had tabla in their songs.
Right.
Vital Signs would not have been there without Gori and Kazamane and Samli Shalongi. Nobody knows the darker songs.
Yeah.
Nobody. The Humtum album, it doesn't even register on like that.
Yeah. Hold that thought.
We're going to talk about that.
Future episodes. I can already see a tear in your eye already.
Man, if we ever talk about Vital Signs, there's going to be a lot of emotions, a lot of crying and cursing too, by the way. Because they all tie in together, all the different emotions.
Okay.
We're talking about Karavan, right?
Yes.
You have to... Karavan kind of revolves around Asad Ahmed because, again, when Junoon kind of normalized that whole thing, then some of these guitarists, they're like, we can have like...
So how did... let's trace the history of Asad Ahmed. So how did he start off? He started off
Asad Ahmed goes all the way
in
to
close relationship with Salman Ahmed as well, right? So
he has been. Yeah, I mean, they were, to be honest, like when you talk about a lot of these guys, Junaid, Jamshed, Ruhail, Salman, it seems like they're all coming from the same fraternity of
right.
sort. I mean, I guess when
it was probably a very select group of very talented musicians.
I think when you have like a limited number of people, then they're all kind of
they
have a
gravitate towards each other.
Yeah,
right?
they would. I mean, the way like Ali Azmat comes now and talks to Shahzad Hassan and Rawal Ahad, you can see that they go way back. They've
right.
been long.
So what's the history then of Asad Ahmed and the Barbarians?
Asad Ahmed goes all the way back to a band called Barbarians, which was, they had a lot of metal in there, but they had keyboards in there too. So it was kind of a, and this is like 1989.
Early 90s, late 80s.
And there's a video
so that's understandable.
for one of their songs on YouTube, which is kind of, I think the only person visible in that song is their lead singer, and then there's these halos of the other. So you can see which one Asad is. He was skinny and he had these long hair and curly hair.
Weren't we all?
Yeah. So now Asad Ahmed, I think Junoon started forming around the same time.
Late 80s, early 90s, yeah.
And I think he tried out for Junoon. I've seen a picture of, with Brian.
For their first album that they came out was
I just saw a random picture way back
the album
when.
named Junoon, right? That was the album.
But he didn't. I don't think he played on that. I think he never actually played on the album. He may have done some shows with them. He may have played bass before Brian joined. So I think so. He had that, but I think around the same time, Ruhail found Harun and Fakhr, and they were making a band, and that was probably I'm pretty sure that was a good gig for Asad to have a commercial band because that's how you get paid. So he was with Awaz for a while. Until he must have gotten fed up.
It took him a while to find his way because Karavan.
But he's still getting his rock fix, though, by the way. He was getting his fix out of playing for Vital Signs.
Right, but I mean, that's not your own identity, right?
It doesn't, but he's done
knows
such a tremendous job on Humtum.
Not that anybody knew him with Karavan either, so.
If you listen to all the guitars in Humtum album, that's Asad Ahmed playing. Like,
really?
Jana Jana. You can tell that's Asad Ahmed because Amir Zaki doesn't play like that. He has his own thing.
Right.
Salman Ahmed is a lot more wild. Asad Ahmed has that smooth style of playing guitar.
It does. It's so smooth.
Smooth and clean, right?
Yep.
So he gets that
all
out
around.
of
I would say Karavan's sound is a very pure rock.
Yeah.
But very clean sound.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, and that's why I think what happened is
the riffs are a lot cleaner. Like it's not like, I mean, they kind of remind me a lot of the early 2000s bands that came out of the States.
Yeah.
The Strokes.
Because all those bands had their own individual sound.
Yeah.
Distinguishable. Like you can say that this is Fusion, this is Aro.
That's right, yeah.
This is Karavan.
So why do you think they're so underrated?
I think, first of all, because they don't have any commercially viable songs. There's no Matak songs. I think they actually eventually did one in Gardish. There was a song called Dil Ki Pyas. मैं तो दिल की प्यास से बुझा लूँगा.
Right.
लेकिन उसमें भी उन्होंने क्या किया कि they kept the sound so organic.
Aage Hi Aage was also kind of that. I mean,
Aage Hi Aage was very
Nagma kind of thing.
It was great. It was a good song too.
Yeah. It was a good song though. Yeah.
I love the way it starts up, boom, and the bass and all that. Yeah, it was cool. Lekin, so initially, coming off of Humtum, and he probably got fed up with Awaz, and then Awaz was breaking up anyway. Harun and Fakhr wanted to do their own thing.
They wanted to do their separate thing.
So Asad was friends with Samir Ahmed, who was playing for Arsh band at that time.
Yes.
And Arsh was kind of falling apart. So he took him, and for some reason Najm Shiraz got involved with him. I don't know how that happened, but it was the three of them that made Karavan. And uske baad, I think what happened is Najm Shiraz also had Roopnagar, and that album was doing good, and he was starting good in the pop market. So he probably left Karavan because of that.
Wait, so Najm...
I'd love to get clarification on that if anybody knows the history of this.
Najm Shiraz started off with Karavan?
No, he didn't start off with Karavan.
Okay.
He had his own pop career before that.
But he was in that band?
He was in that band. He did the first album with them.
Somehow says a lot more about Karavan than it does about Najm Shiraz.
Probably, but again, there was a shortage of workers. It was hard to find rock singers.
Shortage of labor, huh?
Shortage of labor.
So
drummers were scarce.
Najm Shiraz, how did he fit within that?
He did pretty damn good, dude. I think.
And I'm guessing he was a lead
There wasn't
singer.
a live drummer, first of all, so they had. If you listen to the first album, you can see that there's some vacancy in what the potential is, or the
So
song.
Nadim Shiraz was the lead singer for Karavan in their first album.
He was.
Rak As.
Yeah.
In 1997.
97 or 98, around that time.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
But anyway, that was a quick first album. I don't know if they did any shows together, but Najm was doing a lot of shows.
Any favorites from that album?
Not at the same level of the other albums, but Aamere Sang Sajani was probably because they had the that whole, the signature Asad Ahmed riff. And then there was this song called Bewafa. There's some cool like riffs in there. Bewafa tum ho.
I was too young to remember this album, so
You should give it a listen. At least those two songs.
I started
think you
listening
like it.
from Gardish. That's how I
Gardish
got
is
into
amazing, dude.
Karavan.
But between Gardish and Rakas, there was another album called Safar. And that's the Karavan outfit that we know today because Tansir Dar was a singer for a band called Circle. I think he was playing with Adnan Afaq, who was also a lead guitarist. He comes from there, and then Alan Smith was playing for Ali Heather.
Yeah.
Which was really, I don't know if you know this, but there's a band
great
called
Alan
Milestones.
Smith. I do remember this briefly. In the mid-90s,
Milestones,
right?
they had a female singer. Her name was Candice Pereira or something. And they had a sort of funk sound.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. But then, I don't know, the girl left, and all three of the musicians joined Ali Heather.
Right.
And they made an album under the name of Akash. And you don't see Ali Heather in that type of an outfit, so it was actually pretty cool. He did a good job. But then it didn't last very long, and Ali Heather went back to his own, chichore and pop songs that he was so known for doing.
That's what made the money for him.
That's how he got paid.
I just want to do a quick.
So that's where Alan
I
comes
just want
from,
to do a quick shout out in reference to the fact that there were a lot of Christian artists coming out of Karachi, especially, who were really contributing to the scene, right? I mean, so you had Alan Smith, the drummer. I'm not exactly sure what his story is, but you said
Alan, he comes from
Karachi as well. You had Gumby.
Alan's first band, Milestones, there's female singers. He had a Christian name too, so he's probably from that community.
Yeah, that's right. So I think what's her last name? Pereira
or something.
So I mean, I think these like Goanese Christian communities that were in Karachi, because I think Gumby's name is Luis Pinto.
Luis Pinto, yeah.
Or Luis Pinto, right? So
and Malcolm Guez, the first drummer of Junoon.
That's right.
And Jason Anthony from Aro.
Jason Anthony, yeah. And
Jason.
there was and I remember
and there's this guy Salman Abloud. I don't know if he's but he's an elite drummer. I think he played for Zulfi.
Nice. And there was another drummer who was in some band. I think his name was Terrence.
Terrence.
During Pepsi Battle of the Bands.
Oh, really?
Last season,
yeah.
And he came in, and I mean, so there's a lot of this talent that exists, especially out of Karachi. Karachi.
Karachi's Christian community. Right?
So I mean, you sort of see a lot of that talent coming up. But
I
anyway,
think it goes all the way back to Benjamin Sisters, by the way.
It does, yeah. I was going to mention that. Oh, I don't know if it exactly just goes to them, but
yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people in the middle.
Sort of they brought it to prominence. I think Sadim Reza was also Christian himself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
cool.
he was from the Christian community. Not sure if he's from Karachi though.
So that's where Alan comes from.
Right.
Alan Smith, and
drummer,
you can see the difference in the drumming between the first and the second album, the jazz beats and the the quarter, the 30-second interval beats. And he did an amazing job. And
he stayed with the band pretty much from the beginning, didn't he?
From the beginning. I mean, all four of them have been together since. I bet you they're just taking a hiatus right now. They're probably still together. Because you know what happened
Asad Ahmed, where are you?
Well,
hit us up.
Because you know what happened between Gardish and the fourth album, Sara Jahan, right? There was that whole period we talked about where there were no bands. Coke Studio had taken over everything, and all of a sudden, Karavan just bust out with this amazing album. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, I know. It's really incredible. And the last album was in 2010.
Right, yeah.
So, no, it hasn't been that long.
Hasn't been? It seems like it hasn't been that long.
What are your favorite songs for Karavan?
Overall, Karavan,
overall, off the top of your head?
I mean...
Unless you want to take it album by album. I mean, if you want to get that deep...
I always look at, different positions in terms of, lead singing, guitaring, songwriting, all of that stuff, and kind of evaluate, piece by piece, right? There has been a lot of places where Tansir's vocals have been a miss.
Really? I never really thought so.
Just say...
Because when we were preparing the cover for this Kaise Mumkin Hai...
That was perfect.
I mean, I don't think you understand when it comes to vocals how difficult a range that is to achieve.
Range-wise, nahi, character-wise की बात कर रहा हूँ. Like, जैसे Gardish में, the way he starts off Gardish, like, पल में पाना, पल में, I think
उस बंदे की character पे आपने यार
voice characterization. I mean, we're
this guy's
fans.
just throwing shade on the random people's character,
We
man.
are his
Doesn't
fans, so
even know.
we're not gonna, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
so I just mentioned even in this,
and there's
like,
a lot of places he does that
Yeah.
where, you know.
right? I mean, like there was that one line, "Pyasa hai tu bhi to," and maybe he never had anything to do with the lyrics, but like it just seems a very awkward line to me. "Pyasa hai tu
But see, that's one of
bhi
those
to."
songs that are like perfect.
Right.
Sadgi is a song that is perfect.
Great
Even
song.
Shor in Dhadkan mein zo, that's
Yeah.
perfect and Sirdar right there.
Right.
ठीक है? And then, and it could have been a production thing too, because from the fourth album, there's this metal song called Raz, which is probably my favorite Karavan song. He still sings the same way.
Yep.
But the way, I bet you Shahi produced that, Shahzad Hassan. The way he recorded and, you know, put the effects on there, he made it really sound good. And that was a perfect song for him. So these are my favorite, like Gardish. Achha, anyway, Gardish mein ye hai ki Gardish ki jo studio recording hai na, there may be weaknesses in there, but if you hear the live version of Gardish, that boy really brings it in there, man.
Really?
Yeah, you know, kaun kya line thi usme? हमें पाना पल में खोना है इसी घर वो साल you notice that in there कभी आ मिलो इसी हाल में he really brings it in there in the live version.
So, and then in Coke Studio, how many songs did they do in Coke Studio?
I think they did. I heard him do Kaise Mumkin Hai, which is beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful song.
And they did another song called Yadein. Yadein.
That's right.
Which I don't like very much, the song itself.
Why?
I just don't like it. Yeah.
Just not feeling
Because there's a lot of other Karavan
It's
songs.
less
I like.
rocky, isn't it? It's less.
No, I just don't like the
rock song.
melody, how it flows. It's just not captivating enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Sadgi. I wish they had done that because that's a top. That's like, and it's perfect for his voice.
But you know, I mean, this is a good, I think, time to talk about the fact that Karavan got his chances in Coke Studio early on, right?
They did,
I think it was 2009,
when Coke Studio
10.
was more innocent and raw.
Right, and why do you think that was? Because it was a Rohel Hayat production?
It was a Rohel production. Rohel was the guy.
By the way, Rohel, I mean, shout out to the man, the legend.
Man, the legend.
The inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
Just the man who basically established the current scene and what it is today.
Oh, yeah.
Is Rohel Hayat. Although I will say that he definitely tried to do some really funky things at times. And he was probably he felt probably very restricted. But nonetheless, I mean, he also established or helped establish Pepsi Battle of the Bands in 2000.
He did,
one of the initial judges. But he stopped producing the show, Coke Studio, 2011 or 12? And after that is when you started seeing a lot of these...
only did, 3 seasons or 2?
Huh, okay.
I think they did 2 seasons,
There was something
right?
that changed, though, didn't it? I mean, they started bringing in a lot more pop artists.
You know what? Honestly, I'm pretty sure it was more of a corporate dictate that produced more, because the last season Rohel did, you know, he brought the Serbian musicians in.
Right.
And that was his angle. They're going to go, you know, bring in people from outside, you know, try to really blend in music and really explore
and make
cultures.
it a more global sort of mix.
Compare that to what Bilal and Faisal had to do, is extremely commercial songs and still very nice.
Right.
Nicely done songs. Like, you know, there's real artistry in there. Right?
Right.
But it had to be appealing to the masses. It just had to, because otherwise Coke's got to make money too, you know?
Yeah. Well, tell me this. I mean, look, Karavan, we just talked about, and my definition of underrated when it comes to Pakistani bands is the fact that, and I wouldn't say Fusion was underrated because they got the exposure, right? I mean, they got to play in front of huge live audiences and they were on TV constantly with their video productions and all that good stuff. But my question then to you is, how did you get into Karavan? How did you learn about them?
Man, it's because as you know, as you've reminded me many times, I've never been to Pakistan. Okay,
right.
Let's put that out there now.
You've never been to Pakistan. See, my way of getting into Pakistani music and staying current was the yearly trips that we would take every summer, right? And I would look forward to going into Rainbow Center in Karachi and grabbing a bunch of tapes and, you know, coming back with them and then involved with the CDs.
Because I've never been there. I've been in LA like almost all of my life. I didn't have to take any interest. I could have just taken, you know, when we migrated back in 1990, I got into like, you know, hip hop right away. So NWA, all the kids were listening to NWA.
Okay. I can feel it.
Ice Cube was my guy, dude.
Yeah.
Back then, but
okay.
But
I can only imagine.
we brought Vital Signs tapes with us, and well, there was only one album at that time.
Sure, yeah.
लेकिन फिर पाकिस्तान कोई गया तो कुछ और कैसेटें ले आया. Then I started meeting more people locally that were having that had tapes, music channel charts, Awaz group, this and that. And then by 96, everything was coming online. So I may have heard about Karavan online on some message board or something. Like at that time in Artesia, we could go to the store and buy tapes.
I remember that one store, yeah.
Ziba Music, the Melody Makers.
There was a couple of stores there.
I found like sequencers and milestones, and और इसी में वो Karavan की पहली album मिल गई. And the cover was really nice.
Right.
So I listened to the crap out of that album.
Sure.
It was good. And then slowly फिर internet पे सारी चीज़ आती रही, and then there was websites that would give you pirated music, so we got we pirated a lot of their songs. Apologize for that.
We're gonna have to edit that part out.
Yeah, I mean, okay, sure. I don't know what to do with that, but so yeah, फिर सफर की जब album आई ना, there was Tansir in there, and the sound had totally changed. But one thing that remained constant in Karavan is the smoothness of. You notice how Asad never overplays.
Yeah, that's right.
Isn't that like
Absolutely.
amazing?
Yeah, and I feel like you can do a little too much with guitar sometimes.
Yeah.
And frankly,
Which
as
I think
much
Nabil did that in Naro and at
I was gonna say, and
occasions.
as much of a fan as I was of Mizrab and Faraz Anwar, I feel like there was,
Yeah.
and frankly, maybe because they had decided as a band that was their thing. I mean,
Yeah.
they need to put that talent at the forefront.
Right.
So they started putting, Faraz Anwar and like sort of all the lead sort of pieces and all that
Yeah,
at the forefront of like especially their album. But yeah, you're right. Asad Ahmed never
he never overplayed.
overcompensated and like sort of
Yeah, he's a song guitarist. Like he stays within the song.
I mean, I think he's also a very talented
lot of-
songwriter too,
Yeah.
right? So
Absolutely.
he knows the place and position of every single piece.
And he knows exactly what to bring in. So you might even listen to it and say, "Oh, he's not skilled enough because he's not doing a lot of flashy things." He's there, dude. He is skilled enough. He knows what he's doing. Like Karavan's sound was so different. I think it may have been ahead of their time.
Incredible sound.
They may still be ahead of their time. If you listen to these songs, it's just so.
I can tell you on more than one occasion when I would be playing their CD back in college, 10, 15 years ago, right? Folks who never knew about the Pakistan scene, they would actually enjoy, and they would actually ask me, what is that? What band is that? I mean, back when bands were actually appreciated.
Clean.
Yeah.
And like totally intact. And
also, I mean, it's very
carefully crafted.
Very feelingful songs as well, right? I mean, you can sense the emotion in the songs. They're not just singing about, particularly emotional or like humanized topics, just sort of in a distant way.
Mavrai Duniya is.
Mavrai Duniya mein.
Yeah, that was an amazing song.
Yeah, it's.
मैं तुम सबको लेने आया हूँ.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
Wow. So you.
That's a hypnotic stuff.
It is. Yeah,
it just
totally.
leaves you like, oh.
Yeah, Sadgi is a great example of that, right? Like it's such
beautiful.
The emotion is palpable.
Manga, and then the way they end their songs, like Manga tha maine.
Right.
Ajnabi duniya mein. Oh man.
Yeah.
Freaking amazing.
Oh, I know. And that ending, you just sort of
Yeah.
It
और गर्दिश की क्या थी? गर्दिश की भी कुछ ऐसी थी एक. कारवां से मिले कारवां, मंजिलों की तरफ हो रवां. That was beautiful, dude. They were legit, man.
They were.
They were putting a smile on my face.
And why? I mean, anyway, why are we talking about these underrated bands? We could have started off with Junoon. We could have started off with Vital Signs. Why are we talking about these underrated bands and getting to the point where we're emphasizing this?
I just think I have a connection with them. You have a connection with them. And I think it's something that just needs to be explored and appreciated. I mean, to be frank, like ये जो rock music of Pakistan, this is sort of a crossroad between Eastern and Western, which is a life we live here in the U.S. So we can really connect to that.
Yeah.
Right.
I think yeah. Obviously, that is there that it helped forge an identity.
Right.
For
and I think these are things that we experienced that I think are worth sharing with other people. We really want other people to, look into it because it's something special. I really, since the days of first Vital Signs album, this has been something like, really special. That.
Well, and I also think it's a beautiful thing to talk. I mean, again, we can talk about Junoon, we can talk about Vital Signs. Everybody knows about them, right? To some extent.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the fact that, wow, this scene was so rich and so developed.
Yes.
That you can get into these conversations around, man, these other bands were out there and they were so underrated and they should have gotten more appreciation.
Absolutely.
But there's no doubt that, I think, especially for a country like Pakistan, I think forging a different cultural identity was extremely important. And let's not forget that by the 1980s, the country was still about 40 years old, right? Very young nation.
Right, yeah.
And, you had a group of young, yes, albeit privileged kids coming out of, some of these major cities. And, it's not like they were coming out of small towns, but, and they had been able to travel abroad. Some of them were raised abroad partially, like Salman Ahmed. Yeah, and so, but they came out and they really helped the nation forge an identity that is very distinct from other South Asian nations.
And, at least in terms of Junaid Jamshed and Salman Ahmed, these guys have served their country. That's why Junaid Jamshed is now an icon. Yeah.
I guess that's a good place to end it. I don't know what we're talking about next. We'll figure it out. Place to end it.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're talking about next. We'll figure it out.
Hamad Alam over here.
Ali Qazi out here.
Amazing man. Songwriter, singer.
I feel like when you say that too many times, people are not going to believe you anymore.
Am I saying that in every episode now?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I got to find something else to say about him.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, Pakistan.
Okay, thanks.